right now is John Frankel. He is, of course, on the third board. Welcome, sir. Good to have you here today. A lot of stuff to go over.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here. One of the things that's very significant for us is now we have a new third board member, a fellow by the name of John Pearlstone. And John brings to us a background of accounting. He was with KPMG.
Okay.
And then he operated his own consulting firm for a number of years. And I'm sure that John will find the assignment challenging, and he will find an opportunity to contribute to Third Mutual, and we all welcome him strongly.
All right, fantastic. I'm sure we'll get him on here one day.
I'm sure he will be here. I'd like to talk a little bit several items today. Landscape is the first one. We have a slope mitigation issue, a fire mitigation issue on our slopes. And in conjunction with the Orange County Fire Authority, we have cleaned up many of our slopes. Many of them have acacia, which is an oily plant. And
right.
So we have removed the acacia, and the slopes now are, several of them are barren. And we're going to use a spray technique called hydroseeding. And we'll replant the slopes. Hydroseeding is common. You see it oftentimes. Orange County Transportation Authority, and that sort of thing, use it. And then in addition, we'll have a soil binder to help bind the slopes from rain.
Okay. And
that will be taking place very shortly. Then there is also the issue of Roundup. And we have used that in the past for weed removal, and I'm sure that you've been involved in Roundup, and it has been discussed extensively. And Third has determined that it will not be used in the Third Mutual, and it has a danger to dogs, and so of course now we have to find a way to handle the weeds, and we end up with extra weeds, and we only have a certain level of mulching capability. So it's an issue that has to be resolved, and Third is working very hard with our landscape committee and Bruce Hartley to resolve that issue.
Okay.
Reclaimed water. Well, our water is potable or reclaimed. Most of the irrigation here in Third is done with reclaimed water. And reclaimed water has an advantage. We spend $1.9 million on water here in Third Mutual, and reclaimed water has an advantage in that if you use too much, there are no Tier 3 or Tier 4 charges, which are applicable to potable water. So now reclaimed water has been extended into the 110 area, and there's an area over by Gate 6, and so we have expanded. Right. And so there will be connectivity taking place over the period of the next 4 or 5 months, where we unhook the potable water, and with the health department overseeing, make sure it's done 100% correctly, and we will be connecting the reclaimed water.
Okay.
I'd like next to talk about some maintenance and construction issues. Most of the Third Mutual was constructed in the 60s and 70s, and as a consequence, there are some dry rot issues here in Third Mutual. And we have been handling them heretofore with our prior to paint program, which means on our regular painting cycle, we go in and investigate all the structures, and if there's any evidence of dry rot, we mitigate it. We have now hired a consultant to help determine the magnitude of the dry rot throughout the entire village of Third Mutual. And the consultant we selected 20 buildings, which we found to be typical, and the consultant then has analyzed those buildings and has developed construction documents to repair the dry rot that was found, and then in an attempt to have a programmatic approach throughout Third, the consultant will help us, and we will try to extend what we have found throughout the third, so we can extrapolate what we found and have a programmatic approach over the next 10 years and resolve the dry rot issue. Chargeable services. I'm sure that you have heard of the United Handyman Service, handyman program, and third's approach to that is called chargeable services. And we have an extensive list of chargeable services that are available to members of the third, to our residents in third, including such things as light bulb replacement, shelving issues, bathroom, toilet issues, toilet replacements, water heater issues, water heater replacement, electrical issues. So residents should call resident services, and that list is available. We'll tell them what the hourly charges are, and we'll allow them to make those kinds of improvements in their home or repairs.
Okay, very good.
And finally, signage is an issue here in Third Mutual. If you go down by gate 4, the manners are somewhat randomly placed, and folks looking for an address find it very, very difficult. So we've taken on a signage program, and we've developed some very large address signs that are at least this big, and we'll be going on the manners, more than one of them. And in addition, we're doing cul-de-sac signs, and that will help folks looking for their manners, or a manor.
Okay, I know it's always been difficult here.
Well, gate 4 is kind of a very random placement of the manners, and it's not sequential.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the last issue I'd like to mention is the Energy Task Force, which was recently established. And the task force has 2 members from GRF and 2 members from each of the housing mutuals. And at the last meeting, we elected Bert Moldau to be the chair. Bert is an electrical engineer with a strong energy background, and we have a major task ahead of us. We would like to address the energy infrastructure here in our community, and that's been our priority. And to do so, we have hired a consultant, and the consultant's title is the Energy Consultant, or TEC, and they have a support from another consultant, TRC, and we have developed a scope of work which, with the assistance of the energy consultant, they will address these items in their energy program. And they will make a detailed review of the community electrical infrastructure, 10-year electrical load requirements, and then they'll develop an action plan to support a community-wide electric vehicle charging, and also PEV, or plug-in electrical vehicles, and inter alia, which means, amongst other things, they're going to do more stuff.
Okay.
So we're very pleased with this Energy Task Force. And that pretty much is the extent of what I had to offer this morning, and thank you for the opportunity.
All right, I appreciate to see you, John. It's always great to have you on.
Thank you.
Have a good Thanksgiving, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Watch out for the rain.
Yes, unfortunately, we may have some rain. All right, we'll be right back.